Stop. Before you throw out that big, heavy silver dollar sitting in your junk drawer, look at it one more time. Because if it says 1776 to 1976 on the back, you might be holding something that collectors are fighting over right now. I'm not exaggerating. Some versions of this coin are selling for hundreds of dollars. A few rare ones have crossed into the thousands. And here's the wild part. Most people who own one have no idea what they've got. Today we're going to crack open the story of the 1976 Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, which versions are worthless, which ones are gold mines, and why this coin has such a strange, almost forgotten place in American history. Grab your coin jar. You're going to want it close by. Let's go back to 1971. America just said goodbye to a president. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the general who led troops on D-Day and later ran the country for 2 terms, had passed away in 1969. The mint wanted to honor him, so they put his face on a brand new dollar coin. It was big. It was heavy. It felt like real money, the kind your grandfather might have carried. But something bigger was coming. In 1976, the United States would turn 200 years old, and the mint saw an opportunity. Why not use that huge, powerful Eisenhower dollar to also celebrate the nation's bicentennial? So for 2 years, 1975 and 1976, every Eisenhower dollar minted carried a special dual date. Instead of just 1976, it read 1776 to 1976. No other coin in that 2-year window carried a single date. This was America's way of saying, look how far we've come. And the design change didn't stop there. The eagle that normally sat on the back of the coin was replaced. In its place, the mint put the Liberty Bell, overlapping with the moon. Yes, the moon. Because remember, this was still the age of Apollo. America had just landed on the moon a few years earlier, and pride in that achievement was still fresh. So picture this. One coin, carrying 2 centuries of history, the Liberty Bell of 1776 and the moon landing of the modern age. That is not just spare change. That's a piece of American identity you can hold in your hand. But here's where the story gets interesting. Not all of these coins were created equal, and the differences between them are exactly why some are worth face value, and others are worth a small fortune. Most people assume a coin is a coin. Silver-colored, big, heavy done. But the Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar has layers most people never bother to check. And those layers are where the money is hiding. First, there are 2 completely different designs on the reverse. Early on, the mint used what's called Variety 1. The lettering is thick and blunt. The word Liberty is bold, and the design looks a bit rougher. Then partway through production, the mint switched to Variety 2. This version has sharper, thinner lettering. The design looks cleaner and more refined. Collectors specifically hunt for Variety 2 coins in certain finishes because they were struck in smaller numbers. Now here's where you need to slow down and pay attention. Most bicentennial dollars you'll find in circulation are made of copper-nickel blend, and honestly, most of them are only worth $1 or maybe a few dollars if they're in nice shape. I know, that's a letdown after that hook. But stay with me, because this is where it gets exciting. A smaller batch of these coins was struck in 40% silver. These were never meant for daily spending. They were sold directly to collectors in special mint sets. If you find one of these silver versions, you are not looking at $1. You're looking at a coin that can sell for $15, $20, sometimes over $30 depending on condition, just for the silver content and collector demand. And if that silver coin happens to be a proof version, meaning it was struck with a mirror-like, flawless finish specifically for collectors, the value climbs even higher. Now take a breath, because we're not done. There's one more thing you need to check. And this one has sent collectors into a frenzy. Every once in a while, a coin slips through the mint with a mistake on it. And when that happens, the coin becomes rare, not because of its silver content, not because of its design, but because it's flawed in a way nobody else's coin is. For the Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar, collectors search for double die errors. This happens when the coin's design gets stamped twice, slightly out of alignment. If you look closely at the lettering on the front or the date on the back, and it looks like there's a subtle shadow or doubling effect, stop what you're doing. That coin could be worth far more than face value. There are also off-center strikes, where the design isn't centered properly on the coin. Some of these dramatic errors have sold for well over $100, and in extreme cases, into the thousands, depending on how far off-center the strike is and how well preserved the coin remains. And then there's the one collectors dream about. A small number of these dollars were accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchet. Imagine a coin that was supposed to be copper-nickel, but got struck on a silver blank by mistake. These are incredibly rare. When one surfaces at auction, it can pull in serious money, sometimes climbing into the thousands because there simply aren't many of them known to exist. Here's the thing about errors like this. They don't announce themselves. Nobody stamps "rare mistake" on the coin. You have to actually look. You have to flip it over, tilt it in the light, compare it to pictures online. Most people who own an error coin have held it 100 times without ever noticing what they had. So before you move on from this video, I want you to actually go check your coins. Not later. Now if you can. Look at the date. Look at the lettering. Look at the edges. Because the next part of this story is going to make you look even closer. You might be thinking, this coin is from 1976. It's not exactly old compared to coins from the 1800s. So why do collectors still care? Here's the answer. It's not always about age. It's about meaning, rarity, and condition. The bicentennial dollar represents a moment. It was struck during America's 200th birthday, a time of massive national pride, parades, fireworks, and reflection on how far the country had come. Coins that capture a specific moment in history tend to hold collector interest for generations, because they're not just metal, they're a snapshot of a feeling. On top of that, condition matters enormously. A worn, scratched-up bicentennial dollar that's been passed around in pockets for decades is worth close to nothing extra. But a coin that was carefully preserved, that never touched a cash register, that still has its original shine and sharp details, that's a completely different story. Coins graded in high, uncirculated condition by professional grading services can sell for significantly more than a worn example. We're talking coins that look almost exactly like the day they left the mint. Collectors pay a premium for that kind of preservation because it's rare. Most of these coins spent years in circulation getting banged around, and demand isn't slowing down. Coin collecting has actually grown in recent years, with younger collectors jumping in after seeing videos just like this one. People are digging through bank rolls, old collections from grandparents, forgotten jars in the garage, all hoping to find exactly the kind of coin we're talking about right now. So if you've got a box of old coins somewhere, inherited from a parent or grandparent, this is your sign to go through it. You might be sitting on something you never even considered valuable. Let's talk real numbers, because I know that's what you're here for. A standard copper, nickel, bicentennial, Eisenhower dollar in average circulated condition is usually only worth its face value, $1. I want to be honest with you about that. Most of these coins are common, but a copper nickel version in pristine, uncirculated condition can sell for several dollars, sometimes $10 or more, especially the Variety 2 design, which is scarcer. The 40% silver versions are where things start climbing. Circulated silver versions often sell in the range of $12 to $20. Uncirculated silver versions can bring $20 to $40. And silver-proof versions, especially in top condition, can sell for even more, particularly when silver prices are high. Then you got the true rarities. Double die varieties, dramatic mint errors, wrong planchet mistakes. These aren't fixed prices because they're so uncommon that each one gets bid up individually at auction. Some have sold for hundreds of dollars. The rarest, most dramatic errors have crossed into the thousands. Here's what I want you to understand. The odds of finding one of the ultra-rare errors are low. I won't pretend otherwise. But the odds of finding a silver version mixed into an old coin collection, especially one that's been sitting untouched for decades, those odds are actually pretty reasonable. People find these all the time. So don't just glance at your coin and put it back in the jar. Really look at it. Check the weight. Silver versions feel slightly different in your hand once you get used to comparing them. Check the edge. Check the date. Check the lettering style. Let's make this simple. Here's exactly what to look for if you think you might have something special. First, check the date. It should read 1776 to 1976, not just 1976. That dual date is your first clue you're holding a bicentennial coin. Second, check the edge of the coin. Silver versions often have a slightly different edge appearance compared to the common copper-nickel version, and they tend to feel a bit heavier in your hand. Third, look closely at the lettering style on the back to figure out if you have Variety 1 or Variety 2. Variety 2 tends to be scarcer and more desirable to collectors. Fourth, examine the coin under good light for any doubling in the lettering or date, which could point to a double die error. Fifth, check if the design looks off-center or unusual in any way compared to a normal example. Anything that looks slightly wrong might actually be very right for your wallet. And finally, if you think you've got something special, don't clean it. I can't stress this enough. Cleaning a coin, even gently, can strip away value that took decades to build up. Collectors want original surfaces, not a shiny scrub coin. Leave it exactly as you found it, and get it looked at by a professional if you suspect it's valuable. So there you have it. A coin born from a president's memory, dressed up for America's 200th birthday, hiding silver, rare varieties, and jackpot errors in plain sight inside ordinary coin jars across the country. Most people will never check. Most people will spend it, lose it, or melt it down without a second thought. But not you. Not anymore. Now, here's something that might surprise you even more. The Bicentennial dollar wasn't the only coin from 1976 carrying that secret dual date and hidden silver content. There's another coin, smaller, more common in your pocket right now, that's fooling millions of people the exact same way. And in the next video, I'm going to show you exactly what it is and how to spot the version that could be sitting in your change right now, worth far more than anyone around you realizes. Stay close. This story isn't over. If this video helped you look at your coins differently, hit subscribe because at Old Coin Empire, we dig up the truth hiding in your pocket change, one coin at a time.